From the BG Podcast Network studios, brought to you by Chattahoochee Tech, this is your Paulding County News Podcast, bringing our stories to life with news, events, and what we're talking about in Paulding County. Like, follow, and subscribe to hear the latest news from the Paulding County News Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. And here's what you're talking about.
Welcome to your Paulding County News Podcast. I'm Melissa Carter, along with Doug Harding. Just to let you know, scheduling next week, a week from today on our podcast, we're going to be interviewing the two candidates for Paulding County Sheriff, so you don't want to miss that. Today, we're going to talk about being an extra in the next Superman movie filming in Georgia. Want to do that? Well, we got the information. Plus, one city is considering enforcing a ban on ice cream. We'll tell you which one, but first, let's take a look at our top stories. In Hopkins County, Kentucky, a car chase led to the arrest of two individuals and the apprehension of another last week, including a man from Paulding County. Kentucky State Police reported the pursuit began after a failed attempt to stop a vehicle for a traffic violation. 33-year-old Kristopher Barker of Hiram faces charges including conspiracy to attempted murder of a police officer. He and two others are now in the Hopkins County Detention Center. This from WBKO.
And you do not want to have that on your record.
No,
not a policeman.
A good idea. Not a good idea.
The Paulding County Elections Team received the prestigious Eagle Award last week, bestowed by Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger. They were recognized for their unwavering commitment to fairness, integrity, and honesty in administering elections. Over 300 dedicated poll workers were also celebrated for their indispensable role in ensuring the democratic process runs smoothly. This from the Paulding County Elections Board.
The Paulding County School District has announced its 2024 Teacher of the Year. It's Rebecca Clark from East Paulding Middle School. She teaches 6th grade there and has enjoyed several celebrations as Teacher of the Year. We got a chance to talk to Mrs. Clark, and here's what she had to say about the honor.
It is both humbling and exhilarating. It caught me by surprise for sure. I work with so many other phenomenal educators. I honestly feel like we all have earned that title, but it is an honor to represent the district.
What is your hope for the future for your students?
Oh my goodness. My hopes for my students is that they are productive, good citizens of society. I always tell my students that the curriculum is great. I want you to learn the standards, but more than that, I want you to learn how to treat people, to be kind and to be fair and to be honest. If we could get all of our students to be kind and fair and honest, the world would really be a better place.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Clark, for joining the Paulding County News Podcast, and congratulations on the honor.
Thank you. It is my honor. Thank you.
Checking your weather, it's going to be partly cloudy today, high in Hiram and Dallas of 73, low in the lower 50s. Partly cloudy tomorrow, high in Hiram and Dallas of 76, low in the upper 50s. And for Friday, mostly cloudy and a high of 76.
98.7 Chat Tech, where 98.7% of our students earn a career.
So for each of our programs at Chattahoochee Tech, we have an industry advisory committee. Those are people in each given industry that will employ our graduates when they get finished with our program.
We have students that are placed at manufacturing companies such as, let's say Glock, for example, the gun manufacturer, because they have machinery that's running 24/7 to create the guns. So all the way from that to healthcare, where like hospitals, for example, they're running 24/7 and they have machinery that needs to be running 24/7 as well.
My program is specifically for students who want to be in healthcare, but maybe don't want patient contact. Maybe they want to be in healthcare, in a healthcare field that's recession-proof and they're helping people, but maybe they don't want blood, body fluids, any of those elements in their life. So they may choose healthcare management to be on the opposite side of the patient care.
Visit chattahoocheetech.edu, where 98.7% of our students earn a career.
We're back with more of your Paulding County News Podcast.
From WSB's Facebook page, a Georgia man has been found guilty of beating his two toddlers repeatedly for making a mess in their rooms. Such a disturbing story. Witnesses from the Department of Family and Children's Services testified that the bruising was some of the worst that they had ever seen in their career. Chris Grindle said, "Let me have 3 minutes alone with him. I'll show him a mess that he can't get cleaned up." Shane Jones says misuse of the word man Deanne Barnes said he looks like a teenager rather than a father because his mugshot, he is rather young looking. And Mary Becker said, buckle up, Buttercup. You're in for a hard time in prison.
He is for sure going to be having a very hard time.
Yeah. What is it in prison? The idea is that child abusers and ex-police have the hardest adjustment, so to speak.
Any abuse on a kid or a woman, you have the hardest time, especially kids.
From the What's Happening in Paulding County Facebook page, now this is a sweet post by Emily King, who said the person who owns 3994 Nebo Road in Hiram, are they in this group? Does someone know who owns that? I drive by there every day taking my son to school and saw recently that the family had been evicted and stuff was thrown in the front yard, and she wanted to offer a set of hands to help. So adorable. Mm-hmm. Kelly Shackelford said, do an open records request to get a copy of the eviction paperwork. It will list current residents and current owner. Elathea Thompson said, I thought it was against the law to put people's stuff out on the street. Laura Breckenridge said, I think it's very kind for you at all to offer to help. God bless you all. It is so great that you would offer to help and not just sit and judge. Thank you for showing us there are still good people out there. And Tawny Haggerty said, call Marshall's office. They should be able to do something. I just loved that post.
That is a nice post. And I've driven by houses before where I've seen all the stuff out front. But, you know, what's worse is seeing the stuff out front, but yet seeing a bunch of people scavenge through it all makes my heart break even more.
Right. Because that is not a good place or a fun place to be. Mm-hmm. Well, your weird story of the day comes out of Italy. Milan is stirring controversy as local authorities propose a new law aiming to ban late-night ice cream indulgence. What? The city's government seeks to safeguard residents' tranquility by prohibiting takeaway food, including the beloved gelato, after midnight in 12 districts there. Authorities emphasize the need for balance between socializing and preserving peace. I didn't realize that eating ice cream was such a rowdy thing to do. The law faces citizen scrutiny, of course, and echoes a previous failed attempt at this in 2013. It was back then that the mayor yielded to the public outcry, declaring people can eat ice cream day and night anywhere they like. It's almost like Dr. Seuss. You can eat ice cream any day, anytime you like, day or night. We'll see what happens this time. This from Sky News.
You know, it almost gets me thinking about, well, Italy doesn't have that much to worry about if they're worrying about ice cream. Here, we have to worry about terrorism and crime. But no, Italy, much simpler times over there.
Yeah. Ice cream is all they need to try to ban.
What's happening in Paulding County? We've got you covered.
All right, here's some things to get you out of the house. This morning at 9 o'clock, Paulding County Sheriff's Cops for Kids Golf Tournament is happening at Creekside Golf and Country Club in Hiram. Also this afternoon at 4 o'clock, Autism Acceptance and Love event at the Little Event Studio in Hiram. I love that event. Friday at 4, Night Market at Courthouse Square in downtown Dallas. And finally, Saturday, 8 a.m., Keep Paulding Beautiful's Community Shred event at 240 Constitution Avenue in Dallas.
Well, Paulding County primary elections are just around the corner, so we've dedicated our time here on the podcast to those who are running on the ballot. Coming up, my conversation with Tim Estes, who is running on the Republican ticket for the Paulding County Commission Board Chair. He talks about his belief system and what he thinks could be improved in Paulding County. That's coming up next.
Ready for takeoff? Chattahoochee Tech Aviation Academy invites you to the grand opening at Paulding County Airport. Join us on April 26th in Dallas. The future of aviation begins at 10 a.m. with the ribbon cutting ceremony and a grand tour of our state-of-the-art facilities. Don't miss this opportunity to soar to new heights in the hangar where dreams take flight. 98.7 Chat Tech, where 98.7% of our students earn a career.
Your career in aviation is cleared for departure.
Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to the Paulding County News Podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
All of our feature interview pieces here on the Paulding County News Podcast are presented by Credit Union of Georgia.
Let's meet some of the interesting people in our neighborhood.
Tim Estes joins us now. He is running for Paulding County Commission Board Chair. Tim, thank you so much for being a part of the show.
My pleasure.
I don't want to assume, and I'm not trying to insult anybody, but I do believe sometimes, and you tell me if I'm wrong, in a presidential election year, more people tend to show up to the polls. There may be those who are like, oh, yes, of course I've heard of the Paulding County Commission Board, but what exactly would your job be if elected?
Run the county to make sure everything runs smoothly and to make sure that we keep up with the tremendous growth that we're having in Paulding County and unite the people with our government is my biggest concern and interest.
You're running on the Republican ticket, and of course, May 21st is the primary, and so that's why we're having these interviews leading up to that. What drew you to politics? Because there's so many people who say now in this politically charged, very tense environment that why in the world would someone want this job?
I've been asked that question quite often, Melissa, and actually I've even asked myself that question, but I guess a while back, I sit back and complained about how our country was going down the tube, and I've got 10 grandchildren, and I was urged and nudged to get involved. Did not want to get involved because I'm not a politician, but I love my family. I love this country. I love my county, and I decided to quit complaining about what's going on and to put skin in the game. So I started getting involved politically, locally, about 5 years ago. And then when I started looking, I got more nudges, I guess, in my life. And after complaining, saying I don't want to do it because I'm retired, I decided that I'm going to obey the Lord and I'm going to put my name in the hat and I'm going to get more active. So actually it was, I don't know if you want to call it a calling or not, but he confirmed it with my wife in agreement. So I put my name in the hat. I'm a very active person. I am a go-getter, and I love people, and I love building relationships. And looking at our county and looking at what is need to be done, people were telling me that they need leadership like that. My background in wheelhouse is in business development, people development, and communication with people. I've had several businesses, very successful businesses, and all I wanted to do was travel and enjoy the rest of my life. And God said, that's not what I want you to do. Our country was built on godly principles and biblical insights, and we have gotten away from it, and we need to get back to that arena. I've had a lot of support. I've had a lot of things, and when I looked at my qualifications, I fit the job to make a difference in this county to the best of my ability. So that's why I decided to run, and that's why I'm giving it everything I got.
So, Tim, let's talk about your business background, because you mentioned earlier, which is the truth, that Paulding County is really growing and will continue to do so. So I'm assuming running a county is very much like running a business and making sure that all the pieces fit.
That's right. Not just a business, but as Vince Lombardi, when I study people, Vince Lombardi said, if you want to have a winning season, you got to know your players. I know my players. I get the right people on the bus. If you've ever read the book, Good to Great, you got to have a good team. And when you know the team, you got to know your players. We are running to get to our destination with the right team and the right attitude. What's that? He says, practice makes perfect. He says, no, practice does not make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. I am working hard with each, even though I'm not commissioner, I'm still working hard with each leader in each department, with the people out there, and they tell me what they want. I work for the people.
I know a lot of people, when they're planning things out, they take out a piece of paper and they draw a line down the middle and they have the pros and the cons, right? Of
Benjamin Franklin effect.
Let's practice that. If you did that right now, when it comes to Paulding County, and let's say you got elected to that position, what would you...
Don't say if I get elected.
I'm sorry. That's right. I know. What would you put on either side of that piece of paper about Paulding County?
Well, I'm a Stephen Covey fanatic. I do a lot of reading, and he says anything that's done, whether it's business, personal life, or even in politics, if it's not a win-win, don't do it. So it's got to be a win-win for everybody in the county and especially the citizens. I am used to running a tight budget in several businesses. I'm not an expert at it, but if you put the right team together, you can accomplish just about anything. The Bible says in Ecclesiastes, I'm a man of faith, so if I say stuff like that, I hope it don't offend you. It says one cord is easily broken, but when you bound them together, they're not easily broken. So when you have the right team going in the right direction and focused on the same thing, you're going to accomplish a lot more than doing it by yourself.
In the back of my mind, I'm still on those 10 grandkids too. So That's because I'm like, wow, that's a lot of grandkids. And for you to dedicate your time to politics in your retirement years, I could see where this is a passion, because that's a lot of kids to spoil in your retirement. But I think also when it comes to politics and things that frustrate people, and me personally, and you can address this too, because you hinted to it earlier, the deep divide between people in our nation, I think is concerning for residents of whatever political party, right? I think that people are frustrated that people don't want to come together. You keep mentioning team. People would love to hear the word team when it comes to the people that are running their government. So talk a little bit about that and how you feel about that.
I'll be more than glad to. My businesses, I played college football, I did everything, and everybody's got a certain position and a certain goal to do. But when you do it together as a team, you always win any competition or any business or anything. My thinking and my wheelhouse is people building and relationships. If people's not happy with what they do, I've heard to say it in my life, if you love what you're doing, you'll never work another day in your life. I love working with people. I love building businesses. I love doing anything that the end results is a benefit for everybody. The things that in Paulding County I think need to be addressed more than anything is we are the third largest growing county in Georgia, and we have challenges, and we're behind the 8 ball. Actually, we're behind the curve in a lot of issues. Our growth is not keeping up with infrastructure, and we need to catch up. So I plan on working with departments, the state, our individual departments, and get on the same page so that we can accomplish more for our citizens.
Well, Tim Estes, who is running for Paulding County Commission Board Chair in the Republican primary, May 21st. Tim, it's been such a joy. Anything else that I didn't address that you may want to tell everybody before we end?
My campaign slogan is God, family, and Paulding County. That precedes my personal goals and values in life and also my business life. So I put God first in everything that we do. I've traveled the whole state of Georgia on Board of Commissioners and everything and learned, and we have a great county structure and leadership. People out there, they don't trust our government, especially in the way it's going. And I can understand our federal government because I think it's off the chart, going the wrong way. Our state government is maybe half and half, but our county government, Paulding County, is pretty much on track. I would say about 90-10. And we want to get that 10% and grow that so that we can accomplish great things for the Lord and also great things for our citizens.
Well, Tim, again, thank you. It's a pleasure to meet you, and good luck this spring.
Well, I appreciate it so much.
Life's a constant hustle, and at Credit Union of Georgia, our focus is crystal clear. It's all about you. Juggling a million things? We get it. That's why we're committed to providing the best service imaginable. We're not just your credit union, we're your financial allies. Knowledge is our power, from crafting basic budget plans to navigating the local home buying scene. Questions popping up? We've got you covered with fast, friendly answers. Because we want you to spend more time living your life. Imagine a financial institution that truly cares. That's Credit Union of Georgia inviting you to join us. If you live, work in Bartow, Cherokee, Cobb, Dawson, Paulding, Pickens, or Union County, we want you as a member of Credit Union of Georgia family. Because here, you're not just a member, you're part of a community that cares. Ready to experience banking that revolves around you? Call us at 678-486-1111 or visit cuofga.org. Credit Union of Georgia. Your financial journey, our priority.
We're back with more of your Paulding County News Podcast.
Here's a look at your sports thanks to New Season Church from the Paulding Sports Chronicle. Here are the baseball playoff matchups in round 1 that begins tomorrow. Habersham Central versus South Paulding, Campbell versus North Paulding, and East Paulding versus Appalachia. Now in boys soccer playoff action, Gainesville over East Paulding 3-0, and Lanier loses to South Paulding 2-1.
And finally, Warner Brothers is casting extras for the upcoming Superman movie filming in Georgia late next month. Casting calls seek South Asian and Caucasian individuals. Ages include minors for specific scenes. Expect running in sand with occasional loud sounds requiring physical endurance for 12-hour days. So that's the requirements. To apply, you email your name and your contact information plus a current photo to zoltar@centralcasting.com. Zoltar, that sounds like a Ghostbusters villain. The movie is set to hit theaters in July of next year. This from 11 Alive. And we will have final thoughts after this.
Whether you're new to church, have been a Christian for many years, or looking for a fresh start, you're welcome at New Season Church. New Season is a place where people can believe in God, belong to a family of believers, and become fully devoted followers. We exist so that people far from God may experience life in Christ and become fully engaged followers. Join us for one of our 2 Sunday services, 9 or 11 a.m.
Hi, this is Pastor Steve Flockhart. Whether you're new to the Paulding community or have been here since the day you were born, New Season Church is a place where all are welcome. From our exciting children and student ministries to our engaging Bible studies and small groups and events, I promise New Season Church has a place for you.
New Season Church, just off Highway 278 at 4457 Atlanta Highway in Hiram. We exist so that people far from God may experience life in Christ and become fully engaged followers. New Season looks forward to seeing your entire family this Sunday, and feel free to check us out online at newseason.cc. We believe what comes into our minds when we think about God is the most important thing about us. We look forward to seeing you Sunday at 9 or 11 a.m. at New Season Church in Hiram. Thanks for listening to today's Paulding County News Podcast. Follow and subscribe to hear the latest news from the Paulding County News Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. For you, about you, and from you. Get involved in the conversation at 404-997-8655 or info@bgadgroup.com. Did you know over 50% of Americans listen to podcasts weekly? Make sure you join us for our next episode, and be sure to share this podcast on social media with your friends and family. Add us to your Alexa Flash Briefing or your Google Home Briefing, and be sure to like, follow, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
This podcast is a production of BG Ad Group. All rights reserved.
This podcast aggregate content from other sources for informational purposes and is in no way trying to infringe on the copyrights or businesses of any other entities. All content posted up on the site is used under the Fair Use Copyright Law 107. All audio, media, and articles are copyrighted to the original owners. All audio on this podcast are embedded from YouTube.com and are owned by their respective copyright owners. No audio information are copyrighted or stored on our servers. The court ruled that linking or embedding copyrighted videos is not copyright infringement, even if the source video was uploaded without permission. However, we will gladly remove any audio clip upon valid request from respective copyright owners. Any owners also have the option to disable embedding his YouTube videos on other websites. News and press articles are owned by the respective copyright owners. Where possible, the appropriate accreditation or source of the article is given on the same page. The audio-video files on this site are for listening purposes only. Downloading of these files to one's computer is strictly prohibited. They are owned by the respective copyright owners. If it is in the organization's belief that the usage or specific content used on our site containing copyrighted knowledge conflicts with authorized use and or does not comply with fair use as described in the context, contact us through our contact page and we will remove the offending content immediately. Thanks for listening to the Paulding County News Podcast.